In Venezuela, fourth popular consultation is being prepared for November 23rd with popular assemblies on the way to select community projects. In Africa, from September 14th to October 29th, at least 17 countries have experienced rampant spread of monkeypox. And in Mexico, family honors the souls of their loved ones who have passed away with rituals and altars decorated with flowers, food, and photographs. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The Cuban government condemned the United States' plans to destabilize the Caribbean islands' economy. Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez stated on his social media, the U.S. government organizes, finances, and directly executes a comprehensive destabilization program as part of its economic war against Cuba, using operators of Cuban origin based in the United States and other countries. Their mission is to lower the income level of the people through the speculative manipulation of the exchange rate, which directly affects price increases, the spread of intimidating and alarmist messages on social media, and the alteration of the natural behavior of the market. The effect is severe damage to the income of every Cuban and additional obstacles to macroeconomic stabilization programs. And in Venezuela, popular assemblies are on the way to select community projects in preparation for a fourth popular consultation on November 23rd. This Saturday and Sunday, communities throughout the country will submit projects to be later put to vote at a popular consultation. The winning projects will be part of works to be carried out by each organized community to improve their quality of life. These popular consultations affirm the participatory protagonist nature of democracy in Venezuela, while the assemblies are taking place, work continues on construction projects approved in previous consultations. And several Venezuelan states are also hosting assemblies for people to present projects for the upcoming popular consultation. In several municipalities, parishes, and towns across Venezuela, citizens are proposing solutions to their communities' need to improve on whatever aspect of their lives. The states of Miranda, La Guaira, Aragua, among others, are hosting such assemblies so that their residents can put forward proposals to improve the social well-being and territorial integrity of Venezuela. And Venezuelan youth are also participating in popular assemblies to propose community projects that will be voted on in November 23rd popular consultation. These assemblies are part of a participatory democratic process to diagnose and prioritize the needs of their communities, seeking to strengthen the role of young people in decision-making. This sector presented studies of their communities, proposing projects focused on sports, recreation, health, and communication. And in other news, also in Venezuela, the government requested the Supreme Court of Justice Friday to revoke the citizenship of far-right wing leader John Goycochea. In a statement, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, Justice and said the request responds to Goycochea's call for a foreign military invasion against Venezuela and the occupation of its territory. The Foreign Ministry and the Administrative Service for Identification, Migration and Foreigners will proceed to eliminate all documentation that identifies the far-right activists as Venezuelan. Goycochea is accused of persecuting and exterminating officials of various security forces of the National Armed Forces, as well as of carrying out mass murders of Venezuelans. And U.S. President Donald Trump denied allegations of an imminent attack on Venezuela, which had been published by some U.S. media outlets. After some U.S. outlets reported on alleged military preparations against the Latin American state, Trump stated that he was not considering attacks on Venezuela. The statements to the press were made on board the Air Force One following the question which sought to confirm the rumors. In addition, the White House spokesperson Anna Kelly stated to the press that the unmanned sources didn't know what they are talking about, discrediting the outlets which had published the alleged presidential decision. For its part, Venezuela insists that the constant threats are part of the psychological war waged on the country as a form of pressure. And regarding these publications, the same Secretary of State of the United States, Marco Rubio, referred to them saying, "Your sources who claim to have knowledge of the situation deceived you so that you could write a false report." We now have our first break coming up. Remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. I'm going to be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Africa, from September 14th to October 29th, at least 17 countries have experienced rampant spread of monkeypox. The World Health Organization recorded at least 17 deaths and over 2,860 confirmed cases of the virus. The World Health Organization urges health officials to keep cases under surveillance, to improve access to vaccines, and to strengthen infection control measures to prevent the disease from taking root. During this period, the virus has also been reported for the first time in Namibia and outside of Africa in Malaysia, the Netherlands, Portugal, and Spain. And in India, on Saturday, a stampede at a temple has killed at least 9 people and injured over a dozen others. The incident occurred in the southern Andhra Pradesh state as worshippers crowded into the Sri Venkateswara Swami temple in Kasibuga to observe a Hindu religious ceremony. According to official reports, the dead include 8 women and 1 child, whereas 16 people were being treated in hospitals. Authorities said more fatalities are expected as the rescue effort is ongoing. Meanwhile, police have opened an investigation to clarify the incidents. And South Korea hosts the 32nd Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit with the goal of boosting connectivity and growth in the region. In addition to seeking to strengthen economic cooperation under the slogan "Building a Sustainable Tomorrow," the bloc encourages development through innovation. The event was attended by Chinese President Xi Jinping, who affirmed that international economic and trade rules need to be updated in order to reflect changing times and protect the legitimate interests of developing countries. She also highlighted the need to work together to build an open economic environment for the benefit of the region. And the occasion was propitious for the approach between China and Japan in a meeting of their leaders who addressed issues of common interest for the benefit of the peoples. Chinese President Xi Jinping expressed his willingness to strengthen a strategic and beneficial relationship with Japanese Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi, given that both countries have a great responsibility for peace and prosperity in the region and the world. In addition, Xi Jinping reaffirmed his willingness to maintain communication and promote the development of bilateral relations on the right path. And Chinese President Xi Jinping urged members of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum on Saturday to strengthen cooperation in artificial intelligence, green transition, and social inclusion. Xi proposed the creation of a global organization for cooperation in artificial intelligence with the goal of coordinating strategies, regulations, and technological standards that guarantee the safe, fair, and beneficial use of AI for all of humanity. The Chinese president also highlighted the need to promote digital and green development as drivers of innovation and economic growth, and proposed accelerating cooperation in clean technologies and eco-friendly products. And China launched the Shenzhou 21 crewed spaceship on Friday, sending 3 astronauts to its orbiting space station on a 6-month mission. The spaceship, atop a Long March 2F carrier rocket, blasted off at 11:44 p.m. local time from the Yuquan Satellite Launch Center in northwest China. About 10 minutes after the launch, the spaceship separated from the rocket and entered its designated orbit. The astronauts are in good condition, and the launch of the Shenzhou 21 crewed spaceship was a complete success, according to the China Manned Space Agency. Shenzhou 21 is the 37th flight mission of China's manned space program and the 6th manned mission during the application and development stage of the Tiangong space station. And during the APEC Economic Leaders Summit in South Korea, China reaffirmed its commitment to multilateralism and technological innovation in the Asia-Pacific region. In this regard, President Xi Jinping seeks to strengthen regional integration and sustainable development amid growing fragmentation and unilateralism. Our correspondent in Beijing, Bruno Falsi, with the details.
Greetings, colleagues of teleSUR. I'm reporting from Beijing to bring you the news that during the APEC Economic Leaders Summit in South Korea, China reaffirmed its commitment to open and share growth in the Asia-Pacific region. Professor Liu Baicheng from the University of International Business and Economics, who accompanied the Chinese delegation, highlighted that the President Xi Jinping emphasized regional integration, multilateralism, technological innovation, and sustainable green development. He gave us an exclusive interview that you see as follows.
President Xi reiterated the importance of integration and connectivity against the backdrop of growing fragmentation and unilateralism. So therefore, for Asian Pacific to continue to maintain the momentum of further growth, first, we need to enhance the trust level of each of the economies so that we'll be able to formulate certain values and rules that can be shared among all the stakeholders.
Liu Baocheng highlighted that China supports small and medium enterprise and regional commerce, as well as promoting digital and technological training for young people and women.
The multilateralism is being now endangered, particularly at WTO is getting more of an impulse, if not paralyzed. And now regional integration is taking its place, at least to be able to compensate some of the deficiencies of the bigger multilateral trading system. And now within APEC, there is a strong need for us to really come down to a rule-based operation in which all businesses can really be able to make a rational decision based on a stabilized and predictable business environment.
The professor concluded that China leadership is key to consolidate the Asia-Pacific region as a space for cooperation and shared prosperity. With this news, we return to the studios in La Habana, Cuba.
The Israeli regime once again violates the ceasefire agreement in the Gaza Strip, killing Palestinian civilians in a new bombing raid. According to Palestinian health authorities, a young man died when Israeli forces bombed his home east of Han Yunis, while another was injured during shootings of the Israeli airstrikes. In addition, the authorities announced the death of a citizen and the injuries of his brother from bullets fired by the occupation forces east of Gaza City, bringing the total to 3. The Zionist army carried out demolition operations on citizens' homes east of Gaza City and Han Yunis, where explosions were also heard. And Israel released and handed over to the International Committee of the Red Cross about 30 Palestinian bodies with signs of torture. Medical sources in the Gaza Strip reported that the bodies were delivered by the Israeli occupation through the Red Cross. They They also stated that this is the fifth batch of Palestinian bodies released since the ceasefire came into effect on October 11, 2025. Moreover, they asserted that most of the bodies showed signs of torture such as burns and execution, and some even had their hands tied and their eyes blindfolded. Others were unrecognizable. And the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East continues to deliver humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. The organization emphasized that its facilities in Gaza, such as schools and shelters, continue to operate to help families displaced from their homes by the Israeli siege. It also emphasized that its teams of social workers continue to provide protection, psychosocial support, and assistance to help affected residents rebuild their lives with dignity. More than 12,000 UNRWA employees in the Palestinian enclave work daily in education, medical care, and the delivery of humanitarian aid to the displaced. We have our second break coming up. Before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, there you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. A final break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Brazil, favela residents protested to demand justice for the victims of the recent police operation that left more than 120 dead in Rio de Janeiro. Protesters denounced the death policy of Governor Claudio Castro, who belongs to the same party as Jair Bolsonaro. Among the allegations are human rights violations, summary executions, and injured people. Furthermore, family members of the victims gathered in front of the regional government house to demand justice. The police action, announced as an operation to prevent the expansion of a criminal faction, became the deadliest operation in Brazil's history, including the death of 4 police officers last Tuesday. In Argentina, Guillermo Francos resigned this Friday as Chief of Staff and will be replaced by Manuel Adorni. The resignation comes due to persistent rumors about changes in the national cabinet. Chief of Ministers Guillermo Francos announced his resignation from office in a post on his social media X addressed to President Javier Milei, who was having dinner in Olivos with former President Mauricio Macri. 4 minutes later, the President's office announced that the President had accepted his resignation and appointed presidential spokesman Manuel Adorni to replace him, who will take office on Monday. And in Honduras, following a meeting held between the General Coordination in the Central District and the Liberty and Free Foundation Party, the order was given to call on all party members to mobilize to the capital starting on November 9th. Presidential candidate Rizzi Moncada assured that the protest since November 9th will be a permanent and that the national militancy will make a one-way trip to their hometowns. This comes after the leaking of audio recordings that reveal a boycott, attack, and destruction of popular sovereignty by imposing the results of the November 30th elections. Moncada added that they received an expert opinion from judicial investigator and criminalistic expert Jason Villamil, who assured them that the leaked audio recordings are authentic. And in Bolivia, President Luis Arce has enacted a law recognizing sign language as an official language. Arce said the law strengthens inclusion and national diversity, guaranteeing the linguistic rights of deaf people in the country. He said it not only recognizes the right of deaf people, but it will also open doors for them. Thus, Bolivian Sign Language become the 38th official language in the country, consolidating its plurinational character and reaffirming its commitment to equal rights, social inclusion, and linguistic diversity. And the 2025 Para-Pan American Youth Games in Chile will award the first medals on Saturday in the discipline of para-table tennis, which is being played in the city of Rengo in the O'Higgins region. On Saturday, there will be semifinals and finals in category 1 to 5 for both men and women, where athletes competing in wheelchairs will be. The highest degree of disability is in Group 1 and the lowest in Group 5. The winners of Group 6 to 10, corresponding to standing athletes with various degrees of physical disabilities, will also be awarded. 2025 Para-Pan American Youth Games in Chile bring together nearly 1,000 athletes from 27 countries and will conclude on Sunday, November 9th. Mexicans honor the souls of their departed loved ones with vigils and altars decorated with flowers, food, and photographs. On the Day of the Dead, families gather to pray and bring offerings in memory of their loved ones. They also decorate graves, they light candles, and place the deceased's favorite foods to reconnect with those who have passed away. Many Mexican towns seek to continue preserving the essence of the traditions, as these celebrations in popular areas have been marked in recent years by tourism and commercialization. And All Saints' Day will be celebrated in Guatemala, where giant kite flying, an intangible cultural heritage, will fill the skies of the department of Zacatepeques with color and culture. Guatemalan tradition dictates that kite flying should take place over cemeteries in order to scare away evil spirits and enable the dead to rest in peace. The Zumpangos football field and the General Cemetery of Santiago Zacatepeques will be the meeting places from the early hours of the morning to exhibit the work done by children, youth, and adults. The technique of making giant kite was declared intangible cultural heritage of the nation in 2022, and a tradition deeply rooted in the identity and community fabric of Guatemalans. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, millions of citizens gathered this Saturday in Manila to participate in the traditional visit to the graves of their loved ones on All Saints' Day. They've placed flowers and candles on the graves of their loved ones to honor their memory. For generations, All Saints' Day has served as a family gathering for relatives who faithfully guard the graves of their deceased loved ones. Ladies, welcome to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.